begin with what a medical lab technician is. Can you give us a definition?
Absolutely. I can give you a little bit about what they do in the job. So, medical lab technician, let me explain it that many of us, we go to the doctor, right? And one of the things that the doctor usually does is go, I'm going to order some tests, some blood work. And he sends you off to a lab where they're going to draw your blood, maybe take some urine or whatever. Or if you go to the doctor and you have a bad cold and they take a swab and they go down your throat and up your nose and take a sample, those types of things that happen have to be analyzed by someone. And so they go to a laboratory, whether it's in a hospital or what we call a reference lab, which is a reference lab like when you go to Quest or LabCorp. Those are reference labs when you go there and they draw your blood. You can also work in clinical or research labs as well. But anyways, getting back to what they actually do. So they take the samples that are drawn, either blood or serum, or the infectious stuff from your nose or throat, and they test it. So there is a vast number of instrumentation that they use to test those materials, and then they provide that information to your doctor. So number one, your doctor can see, is there anything in your blood that's out of whack? Do you have diabetes? Is your glucose high? Is your cholesterol high? Do you have a decrease in red blood cells? So are you anemic? Or when you look at the infection, what type of infection do you have? So they do all those different kinds of tests. So it's a good field in medicine for someone who really doesn't want to interface with the patient. So you want to be in healthcare, but yet you don't really want to contact the patient. And so this is a perfect profession for you to get involved in.
Right. Yeah, I know when the doctor says, well, we're going to take some tests, everybody kind of panics for a minute because they know there might be some blood drawn, and everybody's scared of needles. So what are the necessary skill sets to be successful in this field? So,
I think you have to be able to be very detail oriented, because as the samples come in, you need to be able to handle them with the utmost care so that they don't get contaminated. So detail orientation, being very organized, and I would say that, again, someone who likes to work alone. Mm-hmm. I mean, even though you're in a lab and there's other people, but your work is individual. And so that type of skill set where you want to focus and kind of do things on your own is really important.
Yeah. So now I'm sure anybody who sees this is going to want to run over and see if they can get in the program. So what is required to get into the program, and what's the curriculum and the expectations of a student who wants to become a lab tech?
I will say, so a student will need some prerequisites, some basic prerequisites in chemistry, anatomy and physiology and microbiology to take before they can apply to the program. They're also required, we do an admission test. It's called the HCCTV test. So they would need to do that. My recommendation to anyone who has any interest, whether it's medical lab technology or any healthcare program, is that they either come over to Coleman or get in the Zoom lobby and request talking to a Coleman advisor to give them the best advising and specific to the program that they want to enter into. For example, medical lab technician with some of the basic prereqs that I recommended. The nice thing about our medical lab program is that we offer both a full-time and a part-time component. So it will take you a little bit longer. These are 2-year programs, so they're an associate degree program. So you can, if you go full-time, you'll complete it in 2 years. If you go part-time, it'll take you about 3. But it gives you that opportunity to work and to go at it a little bit slower.
Right. So it seems the medical field, if you have any job in the medical field, you pretty much have a pretty stable career. What does the job market look like currently and in the next few years for a lab tech?
Yeah, perfect question. So first thing I'm going to say is that our program, when you graduate our program, there is a national licensing exam that you take. So over the past 3 years, we have 100% pass rate every year. That's phenomenal. So the other thing is more than 90% of our graduates find employment right away. Another very positive thing. So there's employment. It's very easy to find employment out there, and you're right. So just to give you a sense, currently there are a little bit more than 2,600 medical lab technicians working in the Houston area. And what the Department of Labor is predicting that over the next 4 years, there'll be more than a 17% increase in the need of medical lab personnel. And what we're seeing is that there's about 200 jobs in medical lab technology every year.
That's pretty impressive. I want to ask you, I've been seeing a lot of these plasma centers popping up in Houston. Is there a real need for plasma in the medical?
Yeah. And one of the biggest areas in which we're using plasma is in cancer treatments. And so we have one of the largest cancer centers in the United States with MD Anderson. And so yeah, there's a great need there. And again, just good question, because one of the things that a medical lab technician would do would be separating the blood to get the plasma. So blood is a pretty complex fluid, and so we can extract plasma out of it to do some treatments and to give to patients. So yeah, medical lab technicians would definitely be involved in that.
Well, that's pretty cool. Like I said, I think if you go into anything in the medical field, you pretty much have a career.
You're right. Right now we're seeing, post COVID, we in all of the medical fields, we've seen a couple of things happen, and so many individuals that were working in the medical field have left. And are not returning back to their jobs in medicine. Number two, we are seeing an aging population of medical workers. And so they're aging out of the system and going into retirement. The third piece to this is we have an aging general population that requires more health care. And so all three of those factors are really creating a very challenging situation for healthcare, and what we're seeing is a wide open need for jobs in any allied health field, including nursing, med lab, etc. We can go on. Any of the fields are wide open right now, and they're all good paying. They're all stable jobs. You're not really subjected to the ups and downs of the economy, like some others, like oil and gas are, where it could be high and then all of a sudden we don't need it and people start getting laid off. That doesn't happen really in healthcare. So that's a very positive piece. And what we're seeing is that because of the great need for healthcare workers, some of the salaries were always good, but they have even increased now post-COVID.
Wow. That's really, really great. Well, thank you, Dr. Nicotera, president of HCC Coleman College for Health Sciences. We'll have your information in our post after the show.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
So we'll be moving on to speak with Matt. Take it, Nick.
Thank you. That was a great interview. Thank you, Ilana. So Matt, welcome to the show. You are the Chief Toy Officer of the Houston Toy Museum. Do I get your title right?
Sure.
All right. Well, we've been wanting to have you guys on. We do a Gaming Wednesday themed show every Wednesday, and maybe I'll have some questions about games later in the interview. But go go ahead and tell me your origin story. How did this museum come to be?
Well, I was just a toy collector, and it first started off. I wanted to get the toys that I had as a kid, but it quickly dove into the toys I never was able to get. And then, over I collected for like 15 years or so, and after the first 5 years, it was pretty big already, and you know, you get addicted to the happiness that when you show things off like that. Toys only give you happiness. It's a comfort item, and so everyone would always come and check out my collection, and it was always just happiness, fun stories. And I was like, man, I wish I could just do this every day. And my wife suggested a museum because we go to museums a lot. And then 10 years later, here we are, and we're about 7 months old now.
That gets the massive toy collection out of the house.
Yeah, but I had it all in man cave or whatnot. It was a place of solitude to just go and clear your mind and organize.
Well, I can relate. When I was about 13 or 14, my mom strongly suggested I get rid of my children's toys, and we donated them to a church garage sale. And every now and then I will see one, and I'll think I have to replace that. I got to get that back. Yeah. Of course, they cost a lot more now than the ones I've had. I've been able to just keep them. So how much of your collection in the museum is your personal collection, and how much of it is loans from exhibits that are borrowed items, temporary exhibits?
So we only have actually one loan item out. It's our G.I. Joe collection. But besides that, we do have a lot of donations that people have just donated outright to us, which does help the museum grow faster, because everything before was just all stuff I had found. And but now that we're open, it's a little harder for me to get out and go do my picking, but around the city and go to all my favorite places. So, but now I just tell everybody else go to my favorite places. That way, maybe they'll let me know if they see something.
Well, I guess you had to share a little. Are you sending people somewhere other than Trader's Village or the local flea markets in Pearland or Galveston or what?
Yeah, so there's actually a huge Houston toy community, and they do toy shows and events all throughout the year. And they do a lot of things for the city of Houston, which is one of the things that really caught my attention. I really love Houston, born and raised here, and that means a lot to me for organizations to care about my city.
Well, one of the things that I wonder is, what are the kind of holy grails of toys that you wish you had, or that maybe in your collection you do have and draw the most attention from your guests?
So there's definitely grails, and then there's grail of grails, because of course, we have the number one Barbie, which that is very hard to get a hold of, but she's also very expensive. But that was one thing that we were able to get our hands on. Not many places have the number one and as good a quality as we do. But also, probably the biggest holy grail is the USS Flag. It's a G.I. Joe aircraft carrier, and it's 8 foot long, 2.5 feet wide, and it was expensive of its time, so that's why it's even rare. And it was so big. An 8 foot long toy is a big toy, and so it made it even less likely that someone got it as a gift or something, because it was. So there just were few of them out there. They didn't sell a lot of them.
Right. I imagine every little boy wanted that for Christmas, and everybody's mom and dad said, "Nah, I don't think so."
Yeah, there's definitely people that just come into the museum just to see that, because they always wanted it. They always wanted to see it in person. And then they get to see everything else and just reminisce. And
well, when I was looking through the photos for this interview and on Instagram, I was drawn to the Mego action figures, the soft woven plastic head superheroes. For me, being a kind of a younger Gen X, a late Gen X, those toys of the 80s would have been G.I. Joe, Transformers, Superpowers, right? Do you guys have do you feel like you have a good collection of 80s action figures?
I feel like that's where my collection first started, was more 80s. The majority, because during the 80s you had what I call as 30-minute ads, and that's what cartoons were. They were just 30-minute ads, and so that's when you got a huge boom in toys, because you'd have these artists, they create a toy. Okay, no, let's do a comic book, let's do a TV show, let's do it was all about merchandising at that point. And so but it led to a lot of the great imagination that we got to experience as children.
Yeah, I definitely remember as a child watching the Transformers movie where they slaughter all the toys in order to introduce all new toys. So you have to go shopping again. I didn't realize until I was much older as an adult that that was a marketing intent, but it wiped out all of my childhood heroes in one movie.
I know.
But well, let me ask you a question this way: what is your sense of the role of toys and play in American history?
So at the museum, we're really big believers that toys are a good representation of what society deemed as acceptable of the times that they were made. Toys really go hand in hand with society and how what you can tell what they valued and what they thought was normal or in that sense, even though that thing. But yeah, toys definitely they showcase what society's going through. They show our social views, and they also show like the what we're going through, because they don't make toys during wartime. They only make toys during peace, and toy innovation only happens during peacetime. And so you have the world actually having a big effect on toys. And how many people in life chose their career based on the toys that their parents gave them? How many doctors played with doctor toys? How many engineers played with Legos? That kind of stuff really fascinates me about these little things that you played with every day, and they had such a grand change on your life and push you down a certain path. And I'm always fascinated by the careers people chose, and then I ask them about what toys they played with. It's just it's really interesting to watch.
So, in terms of thinking about toys and culture evolving along with our history and our development, do you get a sense that toys now are more diverse and representative of our population than previously? Is that improving? Is that kind of reached a critical mass now where things are as diverse as our population is?
Yeah, as always, we do need improvement. There's still opportunities to improve toy lines and to be more inclusive. At the museum, we talk a lot about like the glass box put on women as children growing up. They only had like two toys. You could either be a mother or you could be a housewife. Where it was for boys, sky was the limit. You didn't have any kind of glass box at all. You could do anything you wanted in life. That's what was advertised to you. And there was other minority groups that just didn't even have a single toy that looked like them, or it was just a doll that was spray painted, or it didn't have their features. And I feel like if you don't see that in your world, and it goes along the lines of your career. If you didn't see a toy that the toys only told you could be this, or if they told you that you didn't even have a career, I feel like that has a very big effect on people who grew up who didn't have that privilege of having just even a doll that looks like you, or a doll that or a character like that looks like you, that has a career that you would be interested in, even know that you could even. We take a lot of cues growing up from society of what we can and can't do. It's unspoken sometimes, but it is outspoken what you can't.
Well, let me wrap this up by asking a question about what visitors can expect coming to the museum. I saw that you guys have a Pokemon event, and I wondered if you were doing something connected to the release of the Barbie movie. Any upcoming events planned?
Other than merchandising we've gotten in, that's super cute. We are doing a lot of events for kids now that we've been open for about 6 months, 7 months. We want to start our events going. We have some trivia nights coming up for adults, and we're partnering with some breweries and stuff in the Heights. And for kids, we have an event that's called the Saturday Morning Cartoon, where I do a cereal buffet where we all just sit around, eat cereal, and have an old Saturday morning cartoon day, because they don't really have Saturday mornings anymore. The mornings that you would wake up mad that you woke up at 8 instead of 7, but you couldn't wake that up early to go to school or nothing like that, but for cartoons you could.
Well, Matt, we're out of time, so we're gonna have to stop here. We'll have information about your museum's location, hours, and ticketing on the show notes after the page, but I hope we'll have you back again soon to talk about these more events.
It was fun. Thank you for having me.
Well, great. That was fun. I got to tell you, my brother, he would wake up at 6 on the Saturday morning and boom, he was in front of that TV. And my mom would always say, why can't you do this during the week for school? But yeah, he would just lazily get out of bed for school. But yeah, he was wide awake for Saturday mornings. All right. And my son, yeah. I was just going to say, my son has this amazing collection of Hot Wheels. And I'm not going to say that he still plays with them. He still interacts with them, I should say, because he does do these slow-mo movie type of things. So, well, thank you, Matt. It was really fascinating. And like Nick said, we'll have your information up after the show.
Thanks so much. Y'all have a blessed day.
You too. Okay, yeah, we do have some announcements. We've got some news, some events, some other things going on. So let's start with our Veterans Career Fair today at West Loop. It's HCC's VMAS and the Department of Veterans Affairs. They're hosting a career fair. Students who are going to show up should bring their resumes, wear professional attire. And again, this is happening today, Wednesday, June 7th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at HCC West Loop campus. And check our post after the show for registration information.
We've also got some summer dance classes for teens and adults. HCC's Community Learning Program is offering classes for teens and adults, including tap, jazz, and Middle Eastern belly dancing, Tuesdays and Saturdays, June 6th and June 10th. Through August 8th or 12th at the HCC Spring Branch campus. Check our post after the show for times, fees, and registration information.
Yeah, and it's our IT summer STEM camps are continuing. HCC's digital and IT summer camps for middle and high school students will hold another session to explore either Apple Swift coding, cybersecurity, drone building and flying, or VR. The week-long camps also include lunch. So session 2 starts June 25th and runs until June 30th. So we'll have that information posted after the show. So check out that information for registration.
Well, HCC's Visual Arts Center has an Instagram One College exhibition. This virtual Instagram exhibition is serving as the gallery's walls for an exhibit that features studio classes from all colleges in the HCC system. You can view the link available now through August 14th for free on Instagram. It is at HCC_visual_arts. For info, we'll have an email at our post after the show.
Right. And we here at HCC, we know starting your higher education journey can be intimidating. So we are here to help with virtual information sessions twice a month to help you get registered for summer and fall classes. HCC admissions advisors will help students apply, secure eligible financial aid, decide on education and career pathways, and connect with student support services. And we'll have that information posted after our show.
Well, finally, last but not least, a reminder to all of our students that first summer session 2 enrollment is still open. But fall registration is open as well. So that's begun. You can register for summer and fall. Hurry if you want to secure your course professor location. All of our classes are offered across the college in person and online. We have classes online anytime, online on a schedule, hybrid, in person, and hybrid labs. To learn more about HCC programs, start dates, and options, go to hccs.edu/apply.
Okay, yeah. And coming up, we will be welcoming Dr. Melissa Miller-Waters, Director of Accreditation, Evaluation, and Planning, to give us an update on all things strategic going on at HCC. And for Thursday Family Fun Day, the Children's Museum of Houston returns to launch its plans for Power Up. I am so sorry. Can you hear the jets going over my house? I'm right by Ellington Field. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.